Prime Minister Peter O'Neill confident of ending 2014 on a high note. Catholic bishops call for insightful alcohol-free Christmas. And Angau's accident and emergency unit advises lay public to stay safe.
This is National EMTV News with Mary Bartulo.
Good evening. This is Wednesday's news on this Christmas Eve. Thanks for joining us. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill has described 2014 as a challenging year for the nation. He made this remark during his annual Christmas message to the nation. Despite these challenges, he's confident the year will end on a high note given the stable economic growth.
The 8% economic growth per annum should be a reminder to the nation to stay focused. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill indicated in his Christmas message that the government is committed to steering the nation away from challenges. Interest rates and inflation have remained steady, while foreign reserves are at high enough levels to cater for 6 months of imports. Government's strong investment in health and education have been a priority.
More work will be done. We cannot fix all the problems in one year, but I want to assure every citizen of this country, your government will continue to work for you so that we can have a meaningful change in this country. And as a result of that change, your life can get better and the life of your kids and your families can improve into the new year and beyond.
He says the level of investments in these sectors of the economy will be maintained throughout the coming years. Concerns have also been raised on the decline in oil prices that has affected some of the country's major trading partners. However, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill says the government is closely monitoring the global economic downturn to avoid repercussions.
These are a concern to our economy as well because we sell into those markets. China is also slowing down slightly. We hope that they will continue to maintain the growth because they are our biggest customer. Japan has entered into a slight recession, but hopefully with the re-election of Prime Minister Abe, we are able to, of course, have the economy growing into a positive growth because they are again very important customers of Papua New Guinea, very important trading partners of Papua New Guinea. And when the economies do well, our economy will do well as well.
Mickey Cavera, National EMTV News.
Director of Catholic Bishops' Conference, Father Victor Roche, has encouraged PNG and Solomon Islands to act responsibly during festive celebrations. Christmas is a period for peaceful family gatherings and reunions, and Papua New Guineans must never forget that it signifies the birth of Christ. Families are obliged to attend church services rather than just taking part in alcohol-related activities that could lead to trouble.
Father Roach, speaking to EMTV yesterday, encouraged Papua New Guineans to refrain from consuming alcohol this festive season. During CBC's 2014 final Mass to commemorate the Catholic Church service to the people of PNG and Solomon Islands, Father Roach said people should acknowledge Christ as the sole reason for all the celebrations. To celebrate peacefully, parents must advise their children to avoid alcohol during Christmas and New Year.
So, parents, please take care of your children in bringing them up, bringing them in good cultural and Christian values.
Alcohol consumption is increasing in PNG. In recent months, several deaths in PNG published have been alcohol-related. In Port Moresby, there were car accidents from drinking and driving along major city roads, and in Lay City, several people were killed after drinking and fighting.
Came sit down one time, Marapla family, sing out to more friends. Come sit down one time, na barbecue, story lo, Christmas, now family. Long to one time.
Festive season is a period of peaceful family reunions and gatherings.
Christmas story dramatized by the children, and those pictures remain in my mind very vividly. All of the children dressed as Mary and Joseph.
People drinking during festive celebrations must drink responsibly and avoid getting into trouble. Like other festive celebrations for corporates, government agencies and schools, CBC ended its celebration peacefully with a end-of-year party which saw an exchange of gifts among staff members. Eric Arupma, National EMTV News.
National Capital District Police Boss Andy Bawa says police in NCD will strictly be monitoring an imposed liquor ban against the sale of alcohol in city hotspots and settlement areas tonight. Much focus will be on keeping drunks off the streets and ensuring families have a safe Christmas Eve. Anyone found intoxicated and breaking the law might be spending Christmas in jail.
Do right, guys!
Since the launch of police operations last Friday, operations like foot patrols and motorist checks are ongoing in different sections in NCD. Police will be confiscating any illegal items during these checks, and unregistered vehicles will also be impounded. This year's aim is to reduce road accidents, and Metsu Bawa has warned opportunists not to set fire to vehicles involved in car accidents.
I've already informed all my police units to keep a lookout on any opportunist who think they can get out there and cause damage by setting alight these vehicles, or any vehicles for that matter.
More police visibility will be seen tonight and in the days leading up to the new year, with additional officers and the new police recruits going on patrols. Police will be patrolling mainly the settlement and residential areas.
So in all settlements and residential areas, alcohol is completely banned.
Similar police operations are being conducted in other provinces. Most of these operations will end in the first week of January. Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
With Christmas just hours away, Port Moresby residents stormed into nearby supermarkets to do last-minute Christmas shopping. Many filed through supermarket freezer sections, comparing the prices of meat. The newly built Stop and Shop at Waigani Central was packed to capacity. Many of the customers came out with field trolleys, defending their way out. Despite the scorching sunlight outside, they stood firmly, waiting for their pickup. While inside, cashiers patiently served impatient customers. Many of them said they would be celebrating Christmas with their families at home. Many city residents were seen today queuing to use BSP automated teller machines. The queue started as early as 7 in the morning, with some people coming from as far away as the Hiritano and Magi Highway to withdraw funds for last-minute Christmas shopping. Many, however, expressed frustration as the lines at ATMs kept growing, while not all available ATM machines were working.
Some last-minute shopping was on the minds of many of these men and women waiting their turn to use the ATM machines in the city today. However, many were disappointed with the service as they had to wait for more than an hour for their turn.
Waiganim just come lap and long blood time in sana blap where adlimilo corrichim machine so me come back and for mile come go antar the machine lap to and no card so me come down la currency deal. Tram but still one kind net so the long blood line go so two blood line no block sana.
Kodan lo chema te milugu masen line em long plan. Line em go long plow get a come on top, so I have to jump onto the vehicle again. Simbas na come out when I milugum lo. We geni come osem la tano this lap to milugum sa line em go long plus so me all the way come get a lo 4 mile na.
The BSP ATM in 4 Mile was full to capacity with only 2 machines working, one to check customer balance while the other for withdrawal. There was also a similar situation with the ATMs in the J-Mart shopping area in Erima. Even though all 3 were working, only 2 could do withdrawals.
I think close to 1 hour 30 minutes something low. Simsam something does all sunny or hot na. Emi give me bla hot blood time low. Snap long blood time low here.
Mas machine work na to one pata so work. Na mi snap lo do so mi to ka machine mi ko pani one blood kin. Mi go inside lo ore lawe em one kind. So mi to ka mi ting lo kam no current city so mi kam lo le. Kam mi looking one kind also. Na auto was em BSP ATM ba kim live em easy lo mi plan. Go inside na come out area. No ga now mi pasana pala line.
Suppose putting plenty ATM for some loan. Public place also member good plan. Because public all like browsing money. Walking hurry up na ball ko shopping na place.
MTV managed to get comments from BSB head of e-channels, Natasha Sirimai, who said customers should expect these situations as it is peak period where there is heavy usage of ATMs around the city that may cause cash shortage or ATMs being unavailable for a short period of time. Nevertheless, staff are on the ground to alleviate the situation to make banking easier for customers in the city during the festive season. Judith Kasek, National, MTV News.
Christmas is here again and families are getting together for Christmas festivities, exchanging gifts and to celebrate a joyful day. Families and children especially are expected to see this day as a worthy season for happiness. Lay is already into that Christmas spirit, and the Catholic Church's Bishop Christian Bluin tells the public to make this festive season joyful and peaceful.
Previous festive seasons in Lay haven't been as colorful as it is for this year. In almost every roundabout within the city are extravagant displays like this. Lay is already into that Christmas spirit, with the carols by candlelight, Christmas decorations and lights everywhere in the city. Families and friends have gathered every night to share the Christmas spirit. Lay's Catholic Church Bishop Christian Bluin says the Christmas festivity is the birth of Jesus. Bishop Bluin is calling for people to go to church with their families.
I invite people to go to church and then to be with the community. I invite people to come together with their families, to take a time with their families and to share and have fun together.
Lay has been known for all the wrong reasons, a high crime rate and ethnic clashes. Bishop Bluin says it is important families come together with peace for a joyful Christmas this year.
I would like to wish to all the people of goodwill of Morobe and Papua New Guinea a joyful Christmas. To the young and the old, may the peace of God be with you and a very happy Christmas.
The Morobe provincial government, meanwhile, has initiated Christmas lights and decorations at Lay's roundabouts to get the city into the festive celebrations. Colleen Barilai, National MTV News, Lay.
Lay's Angau Accident and Emergency Section is expecting to deal with alcohol-related accidents during the festive season. It comes after past experiences of treating victims of car accidents, stab wounds and multiple lacerations caused by fights. Head of the A&E unit, Dr. Alex Piawi, says staff have gone for holidays and urged people to celebrate safely and to avoid death.
Christmas is tomorrow and the Angau Accident and Emergency Section is on standby. The section has had a long history of dealing with alcohol-related cases, most of which are car accidents and stab wounds from fights and assaults. Dr. Alex Piawi, the doctor in charge of the Accident and Emergency Section at Angau, says they're preparing to deal with cases coming from the festive season. They're going to start today and it's going to lead on into the night.
First wave of casualties are usually associated with alcohol. People who consume excessive alcohol results in interpersonal violence, stab wounds, knife wounds, axe wounds.
Dr. Piawa's concerns about alcohol-related accidents and deaths follows that of Lay Police boss Ivan Lakatani, who said that Lay Police will carry out traffic operations to curb the number of accidents. He said police would be mounting roadblocks during the festive season.
They mounted traffic operations for almost a month. That has really helped in cutting down on the number of accidents that we normally experience when it comes towards the festive period.
But staff at Angau's Accident and Emergency are still ready to treat those who become casualties of the celebrations. During previous years, the section was and will always be one of the busiest units at the Memorial Hospital, treating up to 500 patients per day. But in the next 4 days, the unit will be tested with some staff gone for break and a chronic staff shortage.
We have staff going on leave, and our staff number is more or less skeleton staff, so we will be attending to emergencies only.
Every year there is a steady rise in the number of patients coming in for treatment at the hospital during the festive seasons. This season is expected to be no different. Bethany Harriman,
National MTV News, Lei.
Coming up after the break, court dismisses suspended Parliament clerk's request for investigation. Stay with us for that story and more. Welcome back to the news. With just a few days to go before 2015, people from all walks of life in Port Moresby are already thinking of changing their habits and bad habits for the new year. Many say their lives in the past will not be the same come 2015. Our UPNG reporter, Jacob Niru, brings us their views.
Christmas is the time when people believe and remember the birth of the only Son of God Almighty, and we are few hours away from that day, which is tomorrow. But at the same time, many people also take this time to make possible resolutions in their lives as the new year approaches. In this report, we take you to the streets of Port Moresby to hear what people say about the Christmas and their New Year resolutions. Some residents revealed that the habit of drinking alcohol is the major cause of lawlessness and other social issues within the families.
New Year solution sampla all beer napot bla alcohol bla drink bla make him kanken biget lo street napot around lo one me public ino good bla so bla New Year solution mi bla mangi mas ogara mi mas lusim beer na smoke na kind of still napot mi bla limon mama na papa napot de mi bla mas lusim bla pasin na mi bla mas change some passing life napot bla mas work money napot na stuff.
Some parents raised serious concerns about the future of the kids today. They said Papua New Guinea will be going through major developments driven by the strong economy. They asked the children to set goals and achieve benefits that will comfort.
Mibla like by country blambla sense, beginning blambla mas change, life blambla mas sense, nubla something mas come up life blambla.
Meanwhile, police also revealed that no major incidents are expected to happen in Port Moresby over the next few days.
Much noise around the street, it has been quiet so far. And we hope that the community and the public continue to behave in this manner.
Well, few days away from 2015, the residents have urged all other Papua New Guineans to abide by the Constitution of Papua New Guinea and change their bad habits for better development. Jacob Niru, National MTV News.
Suspended Parliament clerk Vela Conivaro's request to have a suspension investigated by the National Court has been dismissed. The decision was handed down by Justice Colin Makail yesterday.
Conivaro was removed from office after National Parliament Speaker Tio Zureno received reports of allegations against him. Following his suspension in August, Conivaro sought a judicial review by the National Court. He argued that he was denied the opportunity to tell his side of the story.
We cannot allow our personal, greed and, agendas to override a very important office.
His case was dismissed by Justice Makail on the grounds that the suspension was a disciplinary action by NEC. This year, a number of people holding prominent positions in government offices, including members of parliament, have been taken to court following allegations of misappropriations. In August, Pomio MP Paul Tinston was imprisoned after he was found guilty to have misused public funds. Earlier this month, Gulf Governor Havila Kavo was also placed behind bars on charges of misappropriations. After the court refused the judicial application, lawyer representing the state, Peter Kuman, said Parliament clerk is a constitutional position and is subjected to investigations. Tekla Gunga, National MTV News.
After surrendering arms last week to NCD police, the Moresby Northeast Reformed Youth are now effectively protecting public commuters at the Unagi temporary bus stop in Port Moresby. They are now assisting the police to control petty crimes at the Gordons and Unagi area. Last week, NCD Metropolitan Superintendent Andy Bauer called on the youth to change for the better and to engage in positive community service.
The reformed youths of Moresby Northeast have taken up a new task to protect and control public commuters in the Gordons Unagi area. They rearranged the temporary bus stop at Unagi Oval and have provided security for the general public.
Emol bus mi plus senisim route blol mi plus put in bus 6 na 7 emol sta upside lo road. Okay. This lam bus 4 na bus 17 na mi pla directing mall. Pas time mall go na folly mall man na go se misa. One am but now mi pla straight mall na.
It all began a month ago when a police officer was killed at Gordon's Market. This set off a string of events in the nation's capital. Police had to tighten their operations with public safety coming under threat. Last week, youths of the Erima suburb in Port Moresby surrendered their arms to pursue a much more honest living. And this is what they are doing.
Wait, Christmas so isi all man go come na make him wasem. So all mama to all man help mall carry mall bag block go inside put the bus stop. All man to all hamas all free go. Mi all man directing bus. All plan all policeman go to all hamas lim all man na mi make it work good na making life easy na. All man siran good.
NCD Metropolitan Superintendent Andy Bauer said the youths have no police powers to serve the general public. However, he said they are helping the police to control the rate of petty crimes in that area.
What they're doing now basically is they're working with us. We're giving them some responsibilities. They don't have any police powers, but they just are there to show their presence and to assist police where they can.
In the meantime, youth spokesman Taylor Enoga has assured city residents that the Gordon's Unagi area will be safe this festive season.
So this big blood talk straight. Oman must have na no can pour it. All must come. Feel free na shopping. Now one waits, tomorrow waits. Oman must na come because all magi all making big blood walk now straight in Sina and block bus na. All man all feel free logo come.
Stanley Oved Jr., National EMTV News.
Public servants in Medang's Usinobundi district will soon access proper accommodation. This comes as the national government slowly rolls out the District Housing Institution program for electorates in the country. Planning Minister Charles Abel presented a cheque of 1 million kina to Usinobundi MP Anton Yangaba in Medang recently for the project. Mr. Yagama says the funding will help the district build more houses for public servants to use and drive the development agenda of the district forward.
Show them a half-completed house, and that's a house that is home design, timber from the home electorate.
Member for Wapenamanda Rimbing Pato has thrown his support behind the awarding of a subcontract for a 16-kilometer road in his electorate. This comes after the court's decision in favor of Construct Oceanic Limited to fix the Sauk Valley Road. Mr. Pato urged people to reserve their comments and support the projects. Pato, who holds the Foreign Affairs and Immigration portfolio, wants to make sure the Sauk Valley Road is in the best interest of his electorate.
The Sauk Valley Road project is one of the major development projects that will link the locals in one of the rugged terrains of Papua New Guinea. The contractors engaged to construct the road came under scrutiny and was brought to court, in which the decision was ruled in favor of the Construct Oceanic Limited. Member for Wapenamanda Rimbing Pato supported the awarding of the subcontract and wants to see collaborative efforts between Construct Oceanic Limited and K-Star, a contractor who was already on the site. Mr. Pato said the involvement of the two contractors will continue, while the subcontract arrangement will be formalized.
We'll work with Oceanic, and we will work out terms and conditions which are mutually acceptable to both of the parties, and I don't have to tell the public what those terms and conditions are. It is an important road. The understanding is there that the wishes of the people and the wishes of the local member for the electorate will be respected, so that the project can move forward, and then we have a quality road.
Mr. Pato, who is also the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Immigration, asked people with vested interest to reserve their comments and work together with the contractors. He said the project will connect and access the Sauk Valley, where the majority of people of Wapenamanda lives.
The challenges that are beyond us. Signing a contract is just signing it, but the implementation and the hardship and the enjoyment of the project is a very difficult task that I am aware of, and also especially in a tough terrain like Sauk, and it's very difficult.
Department of Works Secretary David Were said the department will deploy a project management and supervision team to the site. This is a joint project between Department of Works, Wapenamanda District and the subcontractors. Tere Alex, National EMTV News.
The elite of Hela province want to see a collaborative and integrated approach in implementing Hela's development framework. Chairman of Hela Development Seminar, Habia Babe, says the provincial government must not turn a blind eye on linking homegrown plans to the national plan. He made this statement after the closure of the third Hela biannual development seminar in Port Moresby recently.
Hela province has been described as the heartbeat of Papua New Guinea since becoming the sole producer and supplier of the multi-million PNG LNG project. But there has been little to note in service delivery over the years, which has been hampered by tribal wars, slow government procedures and land disputes. The assessing of the progress and envisioning of Hela's long-term plan 2014 to 2044 plays a significant step for the Hela people. Chairman of Hela Development Seminar, Habia Babe, says Hela's developmental agenda can only be driven if people see the essence of change.
That is very crucial because that is a stepping stone. That is a standpoint. That is a starting point of Hela for the future.
Babe believes a collective input by all Hela people from all levels of life must be considered by current Hela political leaders.
We have to gather, we have to contain those expert advices, information, so that with the existing document, with those information, we develop 30 years Hela development plan.
Meanwhile, a speaker at the seminar called for the active preservation of the dying Hela culture.
So our organization is purposely formed to preserve and revive the cultures. Now you work will die out. One way of reviving that is to write our cultural stories in our own language.
The leaders say a similar seminar will be held to brief the Hela provincial government administration. Jack Lapave Jr., National, EMTV News.
The high financial illiteracy rate in Papua New Guinea can be reduced with more training given to people on how to access financial information. Bank of Papua New Guinea, through its Center for Excellence in Financial Inclusion program, is now partnering with financial institutions to reduce this high rate of financial illiteracy. It graduated its first 27 financial literacy trainers from BSP yesterday.
These trainers are ready to teach similar courses to BSP branches in the country.
The Microfinance Expansion Project is an initiative of the government, co-funded by the Asian Development Bank, the Australian government, and the participating financial institutions.
They will provide financial training to people in Port Moresby, while the remaining 93 from Momase, Southern, Highlands and New Guinea Highlands will commence training next year.
Financial inclusion and poverty are much bigger. So we need to get really serious with financial education. We need all competent financial institutions like the commercial bank.
A pilot study conducted in Papua New Guinea has identified that at least 62% of people living in urban areas are financially illiterate or do not have bank accounts. Such programs provide opportunities for people to be financially educated and can contribute positively to the economy through whatever business they pursue.
But this is all about teaching our people to be aware of the financial services that's there and to help them manage the finance well.
So far, the program has reached over 20,000 people. BPNG, together with its partners, are aiming to reach 120,000 people come 2017. And with the 27 graduates from BSP yesterday, it is hoping to reach at least 60,000 people. Tekla Gunga, National, EMTV News.
And now a look at the finance news. The kina closed 10 points lower at $0.3870 US in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3805 US, $0.4643 Australian dollars, $0.3084 euro, and 45.37 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, copper closed higher, gold, coffee and cocoa closed lower. Palm oil and crude oil closed higher, while copper closed lower. And on the stock markets, the Dow Jones closed at 65 points higher, The ASX closed at 14 points higher and the All Ordinaries closed at 13 points higher. You're watching National EMTV News. Still to come, 2 men arrested in Australia during terror raids and customers hurry to do last-minute Christmas shopping. Welcome back to the news. Turning overseas now, and in Australia, documents designed to facilitate a terror attack have been seized and 2 men arrested during counter-terrorism raids in Sydney's west. It comes as Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott urges Australians to report suspicious activity, and he re-informed that terror alert level still remains high.
The 2 men arrested will be spending the holiday season in custody as both were formally refused bail. The men aged 20 and 21 appeared via video link at Parramatta Court earlier this morning. At the time of his arrest, it's alleged the 21-year-old man, who can't be named for legal reasons, was in breach of a terrorism-related control order. When giving his bail decision, the magistrate told the court that there was an unacceptable risk to the community that further offences could be committed. Meanwhile, it's been revealed that the second man, 20-year-old Suleiman Khalid, also known as Abu Bakr, appeared on an Australian television program earlier this year wearing a jacket emblazoned with the Islamic State flag. Both men only appeared briefly in court as their family members watched on, while outside there was also an increased police presence. Their arrests came after search warrants were conducted by police in Western Sydney last week. During their search, it is alleged that police seized a significant amount of material, which led to the charges being laid overnight. Now, among the material, it is alleged that police discovered documents with enough detail to facilitate a terror attack here in Australia. It's also alleged that the documents related to a number of government targets, which are believed to be federal and state facilities in Sydney. Here is what one of the men's lawyers had to say outside of court earlier today.
My client's been charged with a very serious offence, but I want to remind you that the authorities have got it wrong in the past, many times, and all that we ask is that the court process be respected and for this matter to be determined on the evidence and not by politicians and the media.
These arrests are the first to be carried out as part of Operation Appleby, with police confirming 11 people have been arrested since raids were carried out in Sydney in September. Police believe that these men may also be part of a larger group. Here is what they had to say earlier today.
It is a group of people here in Sydney that we've been actively monitoring for a long period of time now, and any action they take, we want to try and get ahead of them.
Does the group have a name, or are they linked to anyone?
No. Certainly their ideology is linked to IS overseas.
Of course, these arrests were carried out the same day that the Prime Minister held an unexpected press conference to alert the public to a heightened level of terror-related chatter that had been picked up by authorities following last week's siege in Sydney. Now, the community around the country has been warned that if they do see or hear of anything unusual, to report it to the National Security Hotline.
With just a few hours until the big man leaves the North Pole, shoppers are busy preparing for Christmas Day festivities. In Sydney, Australia, crowds flock to the shops in a hope of bagging a last-minute bargain.
Well, it's finally arrived the day before Christmas and Pitt Street Mall is absolutely packed, filled with tens of thousands of shoppers making that last-minute dash and scramble before the shops close on Christmas Eve. Most of them will be shutting their doors between 5 and 6 p.m. this evening. Now, it's predicted $1.5 million will be spent per minute in these final few hours. By the time it's all over, we will have forked out close to $45 billion in the 6 weeks leading up to Christmas. Today, anything that could be worn, used or eaten was being snapped up and was flying out the doors as retailers were piling products high and watching them absolutely fly. Now, of course, looking forward though, it's all about the sales, those big Boxing Day sales, which for the major retailers will begin at midnight online this evening.
You're watching National EMTV News. Our sports segment is next. Port Moresby Rugby League Club all set to go in the 2015 season. That and more stories after these messages.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Port Moresby Rugby League is optimistic of starting next season on a high note. PRL competition manager Meke Maino made his stance known to assist the 2015 season while extending his appreciation to the corporate support received so far. Maino said PRL will go the extra mile to stage another fruitful season next year. The competition remains the domain for the semi-professional Intercity Cup and the national side.
It was all done and dusted and the green is back. The Murray Barracks Oval will be a home to Port Moresby Rugby League for another 4 years after a 5-year deal was signed by the Murray Barracks and the Port Moresby Rugby League Board.
The season may have ended, but the prestige of the competition is treasured and continues through Intercity Games, the Digital Cup. Players came through this pathway will not deny the fact of how tough the competition can be. The management may change, but the league still remains hopeful to move up a notch every season.
Dr. James Napier wants to see a schoolboy program, wants to see all the clubs to register with IPA and run their clubs professionally or semi-professionally as a business entity. So in this way, the clubs are sustainable.
Maino has been faithful, rendering his service to Port Moresby Rugby League ever since. He's a familiar face at the grounds, even though Lloyd Robson Oval is currently under redevelopment. Maino spoke highly of the support received so far this season.
I am very pleased that we have seen a challenging year come to an end. We are looking forward to bigger things in the new year and going forward.
With just a night away for Christmas and 6 days to go before 2015, Maino has given his assurance that he won't rest until he welcomes the 2015 PRL season. Tere Alex, National EMTV Sports.
Following the Northern Conference tournament held in Lae last month, a train-on squad has been selected for the Morobe Under-20 and Under-16s division. The Scrum Under-16 boys will commence training in early January in the lead-up to the Queensland Junior Rugby State Championship, while the Morobe Under-20 squad is now in preparation for the Port Moresby versus Lae trials. In these trials, the PNG RFU will then select a national Under-20 PNG side to partake in a number of overseas tournaments in 2015. One of Papua New Guinea's former sporting legends, former PNG sprinter Takale Tuna, has advised upcoming athletes who will be participating in the 2015 Pacific Games to make the Games a highlight.
Former PNG sprinter and sporting legend Takale Tuna was one of the most successful athletes to come to the National Sports Institute. He went on to win a total of 23 medals for the country, 11 gold, 7 silver and 5 bronze throughout his athletic sporting career, from 1980 to 1991. Another of Tuna's sporting career and highlight was when he went on to win a 1991 South Pacific Games gold medal in the 200-meter event and also the 400 and 4x400-meter relays. His advice to upcoming athletes for the 2015 Pacific Games next year was to go out there and do your best and to remember that the Games is hosted right here at home and to make the most of it.
To them is to not to be put under pressure simply because the games are at home, and just stick to what their focus and what their plans are, what they're prepared for, and do the very best. There's nothing better than running in your home crowd. I felt it, I was there, I contributed to it, and I tell you the feeling is immense. You have pride. There will be over 20,000 people, at the back of you, encouraging you along. So if you're looking for motivation, I think the home ground advantage is at your fingertips. So just concentrate, focus on what you've been training for in the last few years and just give it your very best. And the outcome will take care of itself.
The 2015 Pacific Games will be a highlight also for those athletes participating in it. And it will bring back memories for those sporting legends who took part during the 1991 South Pacific Games right here in PNG. Mike Koime, National EMTV Sports.
We'll have more sports stories up next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back. Swimming is now on the rise for many talented young people in the country. The Code of Swimming has brought together swimmers from around the country this year and abroad to represent PNG at national and international events. Swimmers are now looking forward to and are ready to take on the 2015 Pacific Games as records have been broken with personal best times in recent international events.
Swimming may not be that popular in the country, unlike rugby league, but for role model and PNG rep Ryan Pinney has changed the concept of swimming for some interested and talented young PNG swimmers. PNG is on the verge of creating a whole new meaning in the Code of Swimming as it is growing stronger year after year. So far, swimming has taken a toll in the lives of many PNG swimmers through the support of PNG Swimming President Elizabeth Wells, PNG Sports Foundation and PNG Olympics Committee through their day-to-day support for our swimmers living abroad and in the country. Swimmers have achieved a lot in the last 12 months, from training hard every day to attending local and national events. Some of the main highlights of this year's competitions were the Oceania Swimming Championships in New Zealand, which saw our best swimmers take part in the tournament, Youth Olympics in Nanjing, China, and the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, Scotland. The recent PNG Games in Lae-Morabel province brought the nation together to celebrate and embrace the spirit of sports. The 6th BSP PNG Games saw 3 provinces take part in the swimming competition as part of demonstration. The main focus of our swimmers and coaches is next year's 2015 Pacific Games. Godwin Aki, National EMTV Sports.
To Australian cricket serial sledger Dave Warner won't be changing his ways on Boxing Day, promising to rip into the Indians. While Warner ticked the final box to prove his fitness, the Aussie suffered another scare in the nets.
If Dave Warner's bruised thumb is still giving him grief, he certainly didn't show it in a free-swinging net session. The tough opener even finding an upside.
We talk about, your bottom hand being a bit looser, and it's probably going to help me a little bit, I think. And but yeah, when the ball hits the splice, I found out today that it's going to be quite painful, but I can bear that pain and I can get out there on Boxing Day.
And while he can't guarantee plenty of runs, he's promised to again unsettle the Indians with a barrage of sledges.
I like to go at them. To try and get them to bite back at me when I go out there and bat, and at the moment it's working. And we saw the other day that they went at Mitchell Johnson, which was probably a silly mistake to make, and it backfired on them.
Shane Watson made a cautious return to the nets after being struck in the helmet yesterday. He didn't face any of the Australian quicks, clearly still shaken by the blow.
Probably shook him up a lot more than what he would have anticipated, and he was close to Hughesy, and he was one of those guys that were on the field as well. So brought back a bit of a memory for him, and he got back on the horse and trained again today, which is fantastic.
Sean Marsh sent a scare through the camp when he copped one on the hand, but fears of another injury were allayed, with doctors giving him the all clear. Debutant Joe Burns admits he's nervous but excited by his chance on cricket's biggest stage, even daunted by his place in the dressing room.
I think I'm sitting in Michael Clark's spot, so I've got a lot to live up to, but yeah, I didn't want to step on anyone's toes day one.
A fully fit Ryan Harris is expected to return to the 11 at the expense of Mitchell Starc. The ground staff have produced what they call a traditional MCG wicket, but Warner has predicted, just like the Gabba, this match won't go the distance.
I can't remember the last test match that went 5 days here as well. Hopefully we can win the toss and bat first.
That's how we end the sports segment. All the weather details will be brought to you after these messages.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
This weather information is brought to you by Tablebirds.
Taking a look at the Christmas weather for the southern region, Port Moresby, you can expect some rain and thunderstorms. Afternoon thunderstorms expected for Kerama and Alatau. A couple of afternoon thunderstorms for Popondetta, and for Daru, you can expect morning showers and thunderstorms on Christmas. And that ends the news this Wednesday, the 24th of December 2014. From the EMTV News team, I'm Mary Batulo, wishing you all a very Merry Christmas. Good night.